your wonderful KPPS. Thanks for the introduction just now. Assalamualaikum. A very good morning to everyone here. I hope you are very excited. I hope you are very enthusiastic this Friday morning to be with us in this sharing session. How's everyone today?
Fine, never better.
Sorry? Okay. Now, I believe that this is a topic that we are always involved with. It's a very common topic, yeah, literature review. So before we start, I just wonder, what do you think of this topic? Okay, everyone here, you are doing your research now, right? So what do you think of this topic? Like the importance of this topic to your overall journey. Okay, let me give the scale. 100% very important, 80% important, 50% somewhat important, 0 not important at all. Wow, very early also we have question. Well, just want to tickle your brain. Yeah. Okay, just give me some numbers. Just give me some brief idea. What do you think of literature?
100% important.
100%. Okay. Haiza also said 100%. Now, when do you actually start your literature? When do you actually start your literature? Before conceptualization of ideas, very good. Oh, Dr. Nadia Hanil is in the house. Wow. Takut makcik tiba-tiba. Okay. Okay. Siapa lagi? The very beginning, after problem statement. Okay. Dr. Izzat answering before. Okay. Now, do you realize that you have been involved? Okay, Asim, before problem statement. Did you realize that we have been involved with literature when you first start to work with your proposal? Right? Not even before your problem statement. You have to understand what's going on, what you want to write, and you have to have something to back up your idea before you put it on your paper. So technically, literature is very important because it is the foundation of your thesis. It starts from the very beginning. Okay, so for this session, I want it to be a very leisure session. I want to have a two-way communication session because if I'm the only one who speaks here, it will be very boring. Can I have the can we do that?
Yes, guys, please, yeah. Please have an
Yes,
interactive session. So
yeah, we would like to have an interactive session. If possible, I would like to see your beautiful and handsome face lah, if possible. But I do understand sometimes you have not enough data. Should be okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sharing the screen.
Can I say something, Doctor?
And
so maybe you can switch on the cam if possible, so that Dr. Nozwana, she wants to see your faces so that she can actually read the cue, the hint from your expression, whether you really understand or not, so that she can always, try to explain more to make it more comprehensive, so that everybody can really, have some, have the important takeaways from the session.
Yeah. Okay. Now, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So technically, Dr. Izzat, I amend a little bit of the title, but it will include the metrics. Yeah. So we're going to discuss a little bit about organizing and structuring literature. Now, what we're going to do for today's session within these 2 hours, inshallah, we will try to cover all this. Okay. Before that, I just wonder, can you share with me your understanding about literature. What do you understand about literature? Okay, now it's okay to make mistakes. In the process of learning, it's okay to make mistakes. So don't worry, just give me your honest answer. It's okay. Argumentation, okay, argumentation. Harun is argumentation of what?
Theory.
Theory.
Based on past research and the researcher that make the topics.
Very good. Any recorded document, previous theory, secondary resources, very good. See? So basically we know what is literature. Okay? So, but do we use it well? Okay, that's the issue. So let's say literature is a selected analysis of existing research. Why we say it's selected? Because we don't simply take all literature, because sometimes one of the common mistake that students do is if the literature consists of 1 or 2 words of their study, they will just take it. Okay, so it's no, it's a big no. It's a selected analysis of existing research which is relevant, you see, relevant to your topic, showing how it relates to your investigation. Then this is one of the important statement that you need to know. It also explains and justifies how your investigation may help answer some of the questions or gaps in the research area. Yeah, and one more thing, it is not a straightforward summary of everything. Okay, summarizing the article is not enough. The most important thing is, what does the literature mean to you? How does the literature connect with other things that you have read? So in doing literature, you have to be analytical, you have to know what to put, you have to know how to relate the literature so that it can create a very good flow of your study. One good thing is you need to know how to present your literature to your audience. Okay, this is one of the things that students fail to do, because some of the students, especially novice or when I say novice is when you just want to start, it's okay, but we can improve. All right, they just put everything, they just take everything, and sometimes the literature seems compartmentalized. Okay, whereas actually literature is something that you have to make it like a storyteller things. Yeah, you have to put it in a way that readers will have interest to read more and more. Okay, so far that is the definition of literature. Any question on that? It should be okay, right? All right, good. Now we're going to move to the next slide, which is the importance of literature review. Okay, so never mind, I would like to ask you first. Why do you think it's important? Why do you think it's important? Well, we have Aida. Aida, can you contribute? Familiarity with topic, okay. Azim, yes.
Mr. Hairul.
Hairul? Relevance to topic?
Yeah.
Raja?
Raja.
I think it provides support for your arguments.
Yes, okay. Haiza said to know your guru. Yes, very good. To support the idea, yes. Basically, we have the idea justification of your study. Good. So basically, you have the idea why LR is important. Okay. So literature review is important because it gives us some understanding, and you can critically analyze your research background. Okay. This is one of the most important part in your first chapter, research background. You want to present a very good case of your study so that people will understand why your study is important. So you need to support the readers or your audience with recent literature, strong literature, yeah, relevant literature, yeah, and select and source the information that is necessary to develop a context for your research. Okay, this is also the same, which is still in the chapter 1. You want to provide an overview of your research or your study. LR also show how your investigation relates to previous research. Why you need to do this? Because you want to say that, well, everybody is doing something, okay, similar, but there's still something that need to be explored. And this is how you fill the void or you fill the gap, okay? Now, literature also provides evidence that may help explain your findings later. And this is one of the functions of literature that is important because you need to have this to support your chapter 4 or chapter 5, findings and discussion. Remember, when you have to do the discussion, when you have your findings already, you need to argue it, you need to discuss it with the previous literature. Yeah, and also literature is also important for us to review the contribution that our study or our investigation makes to this field. Yeah, for example, whether we have filled the gap or we extend the horizon or build an existing research, etc. Okay, so far, do you have any question on this? Should be clear, right? So now we know the definition and we also know why is it important. I'll walk you through to the next slide, which is where can you find literature in a thesis? Okay, this is a very good question. I just want to ask everyone here, where can you find the literature in a thesis? Journals, books, okay, that is a source of literature. Thank you, Asim. My question, where can you find literature in a thesis? Chapter 2, very good, Cik Muhammad Noor Ismail. Chapter 2, okay, is it only on chapter 2? Chapter 1, 2, 3, 5. Wow, luckily we only have 5 chapters. Okay, Shazani, Ghazali, all chapters but different roles. Very good. Any other? Okay, I'm waiting for one final answer. Abstract. Okay, Hairul, good attempt, but I don't really think we put literature in our abstract, but we do our abstract. We also use literature to guide our writing, but not in abstract. Chapter 2 and 5, chapter 2 and 5, good. Now, let me see. Final one. Arina Akila, introduction and background study. Good. Do we have Arina Akila here? Suddenly she left the meeting. Ayo. Don't worry, no marks will be given. This is just a sharing session, okay? Right, see, let me show you where you can find the literature.
Sorry, Doktor.
Oh, tak apa, kau terkejut aku. Okay, so if we look at it, literature exists technically in all chapters in a thesis. Okay, but it serves a different role. Yeah, or it plays a different role. So for example, in chapter 1, the introduction. Okay, I'm doing this chapter based on the traditional thesis approach, which is chapter 1 for introduction, chapter 2 literature, chapter 3 method, chapter 4, some people, they do have one standing alone chapter for analysis, of findings and chapter 5 for discussion, but for this session, I'm going to just merge chapter 4 and 5, which is findings and discussion. All right. So in chapter 1, why do we need a literature? Okay. Or what's the role of the literature? In chapter 1, the literature plays an important part to briefly define all the variables that you are going to use. Okay, so introduction of variables. But remember, in chapter 1, it must be very brief. The detailed one will be in chapter 2. And in chapter 1 also, the literature serves as the introduction of the study scenario. Here, in the background of your research, you need to tell the audience what's happening in the industry, what's happening globally, and then you want to narrow it down and you want to tell them why your study is important. And remember, in chapter 1, we do have problem statement, right? And for your problem statement to be strong, to be convincing, you have to provide us with recent literature, relevant literature to better support your argument on the importance of your study. So can you see that in chapter 1, this is the function of literature. Whereas in chapter 2, this is the main component of literature. Normally, all the literature would be parked here. But here in chapter 2, you will critically analyze and argue the existing literature to better support your study. Okay, so you will have a very detailed description of your literature here. And not only description, you also have to analyze, you also have to argue, you also have to discuss how the literature relates and support your study. And finally, in this section, in this chapter, you will highlight the gap and relate the literature to the need of your study. Okay, so in chapter 2, most of the students will do some sort of metric box, some sort of systematic review, and finally, they will try to lead the audience to the need of the current study. Okay, and in chapter 3, why do we need literature? Do we need literature? Yes, because we want to justify on the methodology that we are going to use. Okay, for example, the threshold for combat alpha accepted, you know, it doesn't come from anywhere. We need to quote somebody. Yeah, so that's why literature is also needed in chapter 3. In chapter 4 and 5, in findings and discussion, again, you might want to quote, or you might want to use somebody that is prominent to support the analysis that you use. And also you will use the literature to discuss, to argue, to relate with the findings of your current study. Okay. Do you have any question up to that point? Can you see that? Can you see now? Actually, literature exists in every chapter of your thesis. So that's why literature is important. Yeah, even before you come up with your problem statement, you have to study, you have to have literature, right? Because it's a normal thing. If I ask this question, most of the students will say it is in chapter 2. It's not wrong. Yes, it's correct. But actually, literature also exists in every chapter, and the role is different. Okay, so far, is it clear? Am I being too fast? Okay, Anida, okay, Anida? All right.
That's nice.
Okay, let's move to the next one. All right, so now I have explained to you the role of the literature, and I believe that everyone here have encountered, or what do I say? You know the literature writing right up, right? So what we're going to do next is I'm going to give you some extract of I have extracted some of the literature, and what I want you to do is to read it and tell me which chapter does this literature belongs to. Can we do that? It's fun, right? Okay, let's try it. Okay, let's try the understanding. Okay, can you see this? Please read and then tell me which chapter does this literature belongs to, and can you justify why it belongs to that chapter? One minute. Oh, tak boleh 1 minute 1.5 minutes lah.
Yeah, keep it coming, keep it coming. Two.
Okay, good.
Alright.
So, what do you think? Which chapter? Okay, Jazira said chapter 2. 10F 7. Wow. Chapter 2. Everyone agree chapter 2,
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Jazira, why you said it's chapter 2? This is the best part. Being a scholar, you have to know how to justify things, yeah? So why do you think it's chapter 2? It's okay to make mistake, yeah? No problem. Where is my Jazira? Because it say about definition. I'm sorry, apologize if I say, if I call your name not exactly what it is supposed to be. Okay, why you say it's chapter 2? Different definitions, okay. Okay, the answer is correct. It's chapter 2 because it define the variable. Very good, very good. Okay, that's an elaboration. Very good. Brief definition. That's an elaboration. Yes, actually, this is in chapter 2. If you look at this, we have several definitions, correct? And the definition is a little bit longer on the TKM itself. So here, we try to define it and we use several authors. Okay, I didn't take the whole part. This is just the extract. But the answer is yes, this is in chapter 2. Why it is in chapter 2? Because we discuss various authors' definition, we give detailed explanation. Very good, everyone. Now, let's see. How about number 2 and number 3? Are you done with number 2? It's easy, right? Number 2, okay. Let's see. Number 2 is chapter 3. Number 3 is chapter 5. 2, chapter 3. Okay, number 2, chapter 3. Number 3, chapter 4, 5. Okay. Okay, good. 2, 3. Okay, very good. Now, why do you think number 2 is chapter 3, which is methodology, right? Okay, methodology. So why is it chapter 3? Very good. You guys give me a very correct answer, but I want to know the justification. Why you say it's chapter 3? Who want to try now? How do I call it? It spoke about methods in interview. Correct? Yeah. See? It explains about methods in interview. Okay. So why we use this approach? So we use Creswell to support our to justify why we use this approach. Okay. Now, chapter 5, number 3. Why you say it's chapter 5? Is there any clue that make you say this is chapter 5? Where's your voice? I want to hear your wonderful voice in this Friday morning. Mana suara?
Am I included?
Yes.
Well, let's give chance to the students.
Mira Huan. The first two words, okay. Did I call your name? Yes. Very good. So now you know how to write in chapter 5, right? This is some of the things when you want to write. These are some of the terms that you can use. See, in agreement with previous researcher. So this is the main clue to say that this belongs to chapter 5. Okay, so you can see the writing of each chapter is different, correct? Now, finally, okay, last. What is this? I want to hear from international students. Can you share your ideas or share your answers with us? Which chapter do you think this belongs to?
We don't have many of them actually, but I believe we have Muhammad Asim here. He's international.
Oh, Muhammad Asim is international, yeah?
If I'm not mistaken, from the Facebook account last time.
Chapter 1, problem statement. Chapter 1, problem statement. Chapter 1, problem statement. Okay, Shariza. What's your answer? Nazrin, chapter 1. Khairi, you want to answer? It's okay. Kalau salah tak apa, it's okay to make mistake. No problem.
Assalamualaikum, Doktor.
Waalaikumsalam, Jazira.
Okay. Tadi Doktor panggil saya terblank kejap.
Okay, it's okay. Now,
Okay.
do you know why is it chapter 1?
I think it's in the number 4. It is in chapter 1, problem statement, because it highlights the gap. It mentioned no known studies have been done. It mentioned also no known studies have been conducted using a mixed method, and few studies have been conducted in other countries. So it highlights the gap.
Yes,
With
very
regards
good.
to other country, but not in Malaysia.
Very good, Jazira.
Okay.
See, the first clue that you can conclude, that you can infer is this one. The existing studies regarding this is about literature that have been done before. And normally we do this in the chapter 1, but the strong clue here is no known studies. No known studies have examined. Okay, so technically this is under the problem, a part of the problem statement. So technically, yes, this is in chapter 1. So don't you think it's easy?
Yeah.
Do you have a brief idea on how each chapter differs and what kind of words or sentences that we need to use? Actually, we can use one literature with all to all chapters. One literature can be applied to all chapters, but the write-up is different in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Chapter 3 normally we will use someone or literature that is relevant to method. So the write-up for chapter 1, 2, 4, 5 is different, right? So that's why it's very important for you to have a very strong and relevant and good literature, because you can use one literature in all chapters. Okay, I hope this give you a brief understanding of literature in different chapters in thesis. Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next session. See, it's very fast. Steps in literature review. Okay, I would like to ask, how do you actually deal with your literature? Before I give you the steps, okay. How do you actually deal with your literature? Can someone help me with this? How do you engage with your literature? And how you deal with it? Reading, okay, fine. You read. Underline the important point. Good, you underline the important point. Next. Okay, Shariza. Cannot hear you, Shariza. I think some problem with your mic. Use literature log, yes.
Using different colors of highlighters.
Using different colors of highlighters, yes. That is what I did before, but that was like 12 years back. Okay. Keywords to my topic. Read abstract, okay. Construct table to organize, okay, fine. So people have their own ways, their own preference to engage and deal with literature. There's no fixed process, there's no fixed procedures to do it, because it's your literature. You are going to deal with it. You will know where you put it, right? But let's be systematic, okay? Don't do the same mistake that I've done myself, but I need to print my article, okay? I need to print my article because I don't like to read from computer, okay? And like Shariza said, I will use different colors, and at the end of the day, I'm confused. This color represents what, okay? So what we can do now is, some of you just now said log your literature. Yes, that is the thing that I would like to encourage you to do. But before that, let's see what is the step that involve in your literature review. See, it's the basic steps, okay? And it can be interrelated, yeah? Okay, the first step is, before you can read, you have to identify the relevant sources. And please bear in mind to try to vary your sources. Okay, don't depend so much on one source only. You might want to use books, you might want to use journals, empirical research, that is for sure. You might want to